Hello everyone, welcome to another session on UPSC Mains previous questions analysis or previous years question papers analysis. Today we will be discussing about 2013 GS paper 4, that is ethics. Without any further delay, let us get into the first article itself. First question. So the first question is, what do you understand by values and ethics? In what way is it important to be ethical along with being professionally competent? So in this you are going to define what values are and what is your understanding of ethics are, and not only that, you are also trying to explain or try to give out an answer where you explain what being professionally competent all while being ethical is. So you are addressing three issues here. You are defining two things and you are elaborating on one particular thing, that is being ethical and also being professionally competent. This is kind of a short answer. You also have to kind of define what professionally competent being means, and you have to give out. Remember, ethics is always being honest, being what you would do when you are in those shoes, and you have to give out an answer that is honest in nature. See, I think most of us would hear this from many sources as to how ethical one should be, but the best way that an individual can be ethical is by being themselves. So that is what the first question is about. Coming to the second question, it is a little bit interesting in that sense, because they are asking you to what your understanding about certain words or terms. So what is the first thing that they are asking about here? They are asking about the term integrity. Define integrity. The second thing is again perseverance, my favorite word. The word that this channel is based on, earlier this channel used to be known as Perseverance IAS. Perseverance is something that I have held in. I believe in that word and I live by that word. Perseverance is something that one should always rest their morals on, because that means that you are going in for the long run, not for the short term. So again, the spirit of service, commitment, courage of conviction. So courage of conviction is little bit different, because when you read that word, it looks like it's two words, but nonetheless, courage, it's like you are fearless, you are doing things without any fear. With a conviction, meaning you hold that belief that you have what you are doing is right, what you are doing is honest. That is conviction. Courage of conviction is being holding your beliefs or believing in your beliefs that you hold firmly without any fear. That is what courage of conviction means. Again, you give out the definitions. You are not trying to define those definitions, you are just trying to expound or explain those definitions according to your own understanding. Now coming to the part B of the question, indicate two more attributes which you consider important for public service. Justify your answer. Remember, these attributes are to be given by you. Excuse me. Whatever the attributes that you feel are right for an individual who is in public service, you have to write those attributes. It may be honesty, it may be justice, it may be truthfulness, whatever the attribute might be. You pick two attributes out of many that are there and you explain them, and you support your attributes by giving why they are important, why a public servant requires those attributes to serve public in life. That is how you pick that answer. Now moving on to the next question. Some people, that is question number 3. Some people feel that values keep changing with time and situation, while others strongly believe that there are certain universal and eternal human values. Give your perception in this regard and due justification. So again, this is a multi-layered answer. First, what are they asking? So two things, as I said, are being asked here. They are first giving you out a scenario. They are saying that some people feel that values keep changing with time and situation. And they are also saying that while others strongly believe that there are certain universal and eternal human values, give your perception in this regard with due justification. So they are asking you to weigh in on two theories or two thought processes. One thought process is where a group of people believe that values keep on changing in respect to time and situation, while there are another section of society where they strongly believe that irrespective of time and situation, there are certain central and centric values, human values, that are universal and also eternal. They are not time bound, they do not change depending on time nor the situation. That is how you approach this answer, and you say that yes, there are certain situations or there are certain people where they change their values depending on time and situation, but it doesn't mean that their moral standards or ethical behavior is different from others, because at the end of the day they too adhere to some certain core universal and eternal human values that everybody in this world follows, or at least a greater section of the society follows. Again, you are not going for the negative answer for it, you are going for the positive aspect of it. Again, ethics is a different paradigm altogether, because at the end of the day it is not a standard paper to be writing, because ethics portrays your state of mind. It is that important to be very honest, authentic, and portray your opinion in those answers. Now moving on to the next question. What is emotional intelligence and how it can be developed in people? How does it help an individual in taking ethical decisions? This is question number 4. So when you are answering this question, you start answering by defining what emotional intelligence is in the first place, what it entails, what are its identifiers in an individual, and how important for an individual's own personal growth in terms of understanding the concept of emotional intelligence and implementing the concept of emotional intelligence. From that perspective, you have to explain emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the core concept of ethical behavior because most of the decisions that an individual takes in a day-to-day life, whether it may be a he, it may be a she, whoever it is, whenever they are considering some aspect of decision making from the lens of ethics, their emotional quotient always plays a critical role. The more emotionally aware they are, the better decisions that they take that align with their ethical beliefs, not only in terms of their own ethical beliefs but also societal ethical beliefs. That is how important emotional quotient is in terms of taking ethical decisions. Now let us come to question number 5. Again a two-parter question. 5A is, what do you understand by term voice of conscience? How do you prepare yourself to heed to the voice of conscience? So voice of conscience is nothing but an individual, a person's sense of whether a thing is right or wrong, right? This is not a voice that comes out of outside. It is something that you possess individually inside your being, right? Where your moral sense of compass says whatever you are doing right now is right or wrong. That is the voice of consciousness, because you internally know whatever you may be saying out loud. The inner voice, the inner thought, or the inner feeling that you possess whenever you are carrying out an action, carrying out a function, you internally know whether it is right or wrong, irrespective of what you are saying out loud. Internally you may feel something that you are doing is right, but outside you might be saying it as a wrong, or the case might be vice versa. Internally your ethical beliefs, your ethical principles are saying that, man, what you are doing is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this, but for whatever reason you are saying the exact opposite to appease something or someone, or for whatever reason you are contradicting your own voice of consciousness. Now moving on to part B. What is meant by crisis of consciousness? Narrate one incident in your life when you were faced with such a crisis and how you resolved the same. The example that I gave earlier. You are carrying out a function as an administrator. You are an IAS officer or an IPS officer posted in somewhere. You have external pressures, you have political pressures, you have societal pressures, whatever maybe. You have hundreds of press, media pressure, whatever it is. There is an active scenario that is taking place in your jurisdiction, the place where you are administrating, and the pressures are upon you in such a way that they are asking you to do the wrong thing despite you knowing and they themselves knowing what they are asking you to do is wrong. But internally you know that it is wrong to do that and you have to do the right thing. That is the crisis of consciousness, because internally your moral senses, your moral beliefs, your moral principles are saying, I have to do the right thing here. But externally, there are hundreds of pressures that are acting upon you to do the wrong thing. That is where your crisis of consciousness comes, because you are unable to choose between whether you should do the right thing that is based on your own voice of conscience, or you have to do the wrong thing based on external pressures. In this scenario, the best way to is to give an example in your own life, however insignificant or significant it may be. Don't give graphic details of your personal life. Just say that you are going through some emotional or a mental or whatever the problem, a physical problem, even the better the case would be, and say that this is where I thought I knew the right thing, I was doing the right, I knew I should be doing the right thing, but due to this I had to do the wrong thing, or I know it was a wrong thing to do, but externally everybody was saying the right thing. So whatever, be honest and try to give a balanced answer. Don't go into the details. Now moving on to question number 6. So given below are 3 quotations of great moral thinkers / philosophers, right? For each of these quotes or quotations, bring out what it means to you in present context. So the first one is, there is enough on this earth for everyone's need, but for no one's greed. Mahatma Gandhi. Give out the explanation as to what the quotation is. Try to expand the quotation that is being given to you. Try to relate it with a real life scenario that is taking place in the world right now, and you conclude as to how this quote, if implemented in the right way, will certainly make the world a better place. Now moving on to the next quotation. Nearly all men can withstand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Who said it? Abraham Lincoln. Again, in this scenario too, you have to explain what that quotation means. You have to kind of make the quotation palatable for individual to understand the whole quotation. Meaning, you take a complicated quotation, a meaningful quotation, and simplify it so that a layman can understand the intent and the meaning behind the quotation itself. Then you give a real life example and conclude by saying that if this thing is right, that would certainly help an individual to govern in a proper way. So that is kind of a thing that you have to consider while dealing with quotations, particularly in these kinds of quotations. Coming to C, I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who overcomes his enemy. This was said by Aristotle. Again, 150 words, same pattern follows. Now moving on to question number 7. The good of an individual is contained in the good of all. What do you understand by this statement? How can this principle be implemented in public life? So this is again an unattributed quotation, right? They are saying that if a good individual is if the good of an individual is contained in the good of all, what do you understand by it? So try to explain what the quotation itself is. How do you say that an individual can be characterized as a good individual if it is contained in the good of all? So again, you go through that process, go through the process of explaining the quotation itself. Try to give out an example as how inclusiveness and the personal growth of an individual is always a welcome sign, because once a person feels secure, once a person feels safe, they automatically try to better their surroundings in positive ways. That is how you approach this question. Now moving on to question number 8. It is often said that politics and ethics do not go together. What is your opinion in this regard? Justify your answer with illustrations. So you again explain ethics, what ethics are, and why they are saying that ethics and politics do not go together. You have to say whether this is reality or not, but you have to pick up a real life scenario, because you have to pick with reality and stay in reality. And in reality, politics and ethics cannot be said that they do go together, because there are politicians in the world right now who act on their own accord and in self-interest, despite knowing that it is very unethical and antithesis to their whole profession. That is how you have to give up with example. And again, you have to give your opinion as to why this absence of ethics from politics is a dangerous sign or dangerous for the health of the society, and you have to justify your answer with a proper example. Again, example, you should not pick examples from the real life. You try to give out generalized examples in a sense. That is how important it is. Now moving on to next section. Till now we completed section A. Now we are moving to section B. Now in section B, paragraphs would be given to you, right? Then you have to study the questions. Case studies are, right? These are case studies. The case studies are given to you. You understand the case study in the first place, then you digest the case study in the first place, and then approach the questions based on your understanding of the given case study. So again, case studies are very important. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on case studies, but again, I urge you to pause the video here, read the paragraph, then approach the questions in the following manner. Likewise, I would like to skip it because I would like to deal case studies in separate videos. I am not going to waste anybody's time by doing case studies in this way, because in ethics, case studies have to be done in a respectful and a proper systematic way. So I am not going to waste your time here. So till the questions are asked, I am happy. Case studies, I'll explain case studies when I do the ethics sessions, where I'm planning to do ethics sessions. In that, majority of the time would be allocated to case studies. So as I said, ethics will be dealt in separate sessions. Along with it, case studies also will be dealt in detail, in proper way, with a due respect and due importance in future sessions. So this is for now. If you like the video, please click the like button, share it with your friends, family. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell icon and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss any videos that I am uploading on a regular basis. Thanks for watching. Thank you.